Good evening, everyone. Respected District 20 Director, DTM Khalid Abdullah, Program Quality Director, DTM Mona Aloko, Club Road Director, DTM Yasser Al-Kashar, Event Chair, DTM Sunita Raghu, Organizing Committee members, fellow Toastmasters, and mass Speechcraft participants. A very good evening to one and all. Welcome you all to District 20 first ever mass Speechcraft. I am Toastmaster Arshi Rachel, member of Bahrain Kerala Samajam Toastmasters Club and your Chief Sergeant at Arms for this session. Ladies and gentlemen, to complete this session successfully, we have some ground rules. To avoid background noise, moderator will mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Refrain from moments while the camera is on during the session. Zoom chat options are restricted to host and co-host. If you need to communicate with the organizing committee, please use WhatsApp. During the presentations, the chat option is restricted to moderator. For applause, please use emojis. Now let us all remind ourselves of the core values of Toastmasters International: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Now, to open the session, we have a dynamic Toastmaster as the event chair, who is a Toastmaster since 2018. Member of two clubs, current District 20 Club Retention Coordinator for Bahrain, President of Palakkad Toastmasters Club. Please put your hands together to welcome distinguished Toastmaster Sunita Raghu to call the session to order and welcome the audience.
Yeah, I was not able to unmute. Okay. Thank you, Surgeon at Arms, Toastmaster Arshi Rachel, for introducing me to the audience and for your contribution to the mass Speechcraft. District 20 officials, respected President, DTM Sandy Strain, fellow Toastmasters and Speechcraft participants, a very pleasant good evening to one and all. I, Sunita Raghu, welcome you all and hereby call District 20 Mass Speechcraft Session 4 to order. This week, this week has been celebrated as a happiness week, and especially today, March 17th, is also a sleep day. We are conducting table topic presentation this evening, and I draw parallel to all of this. A person who takes proper rest and take care of oneself can remain happy, positive, and alert. An alert mind can think quick. They can think quick and think on their feet, and with a very positive, they can come out with a very good response of positive answers or positive results. This wonderful evening, we are going to learn the art of facing unrehearsed topics and how to answer it quickly and effectively. Reading and life experience will also help us to get it right. Sometimes I get it right. Most of the times I don't. Maybe I need to improve my reading skills also, I think. I'm sure the Toastmasters in this group would agree with me how mastering table topics would definitely help you in your personal life in terms of winning an argument or persuading a family member for something. Jokes apart, this is a very important session and many volunteers have come together to help us conduct the demo table topic session also. Without further ado, let us move on to our education session. To help us conduct this session 4, we have a yogi here, but a very charming yogi. She is one of the charter members of Giza Toastmasters Club, Egypt, current VPPR of our club, of that club. She's a yoga practitioner, tennis player, swimmer, rower, solo traveler, and corporate lawyer. Please put your hands together to welcome this multi-talented master of ceremonies of our session, Toastmaster Aya El Zayadi. Toastmaster Aya, the virtual screen is yours.
Thank you, Event Chair DTM Sunita Raghu, for the wonderful introduction. distinguished District 20 dignitaries, event chair, DTM Sunita Raghu, the organizing team, fellow Toastmasters, and invited guests. A very warm good evening. I welcome you all to the fourth session of this unique digital mass Speechcraft training session. The very best impromptu speeches are the one written well in advance. Roth Gordon. This mass Speechcraft is a unique initiative by District 20 to help everyone to enhance their communication skills and to develop them further. Being able to communicate effectively is one of the most important life skills to learn. In some situations, we don't get time to prepare our communication in advance. We have to respond immediately. Today, we have a very important presentation in which we will learning about how to give impromptu speech or table topics, as we call it in Toastmasters language. To explain it more, we are also having a demo table topics speech by the champions. Setting goals in the first step in turning the invisible to visible. That's what's the motive of this workshop, and this statement totally justifies the theme of the mass Speechcraft. Seek, soar, succeed. Let's not delay and move on to our agenda. Let's begin the District 20 Mass Speechcraft fourth session. I'm Toastmaster Ayel Zayedi, your Master of Ceremony of the day. I will start by introducing our timer for today so we can run the meeting on time. Time is free, yet it's priceless. Today, we have with us a meticulous timer who's going to keep a record of every second we are going to spend today in the session. Our timer today is Toastmaster Archie Rochelle. Toastmaster Archie is an accountant by profession. She loves to engage herself in reading, journaling, planting trees, and using paintbrush whenever she has time for herself. She's also passionate about traveling and environment conservation. The timings to be followed have been communicated already to the presenters and the speakers. Accordingly, our meticulous timer, Toastmaster Archie Rochelle, will display the color cards as you will see on the screen right now. Toastmaster Archie, we're waiting for you to display the colors for the speakers. Well, I believe she has a technical issue right now. However, the colors are, when you reach the minimum goal of the speech, she's going to turn the green color, as you can see on the screen right now. Perfect. And the yellow card, when you have to wrap up your speech, and the red card when you have to stop. Perfect, thank you. Now is the time to move ahead with today's educational session. Before we begin our session, I would like to inform you that there will be a presentation followed by one demo speech to show how to attempt table topics. This will be followed as a question and answer session. To have a smooth, uninterrupted session, all chats will be disabled. You can send your questions or queries to our DTM Asha Rani. All your questions will be read out by her during the question and answer session. Also, please note that the attendance sheet will be shared in the chat box during the session. Please fill out the form so feedback helps us to be improved. Let's start with the much awaited presentation table topics. We have with us a dynamic, distinguished Toastmaster here. DTM Sandy Steen has a master's in education TESOL. She is a senior instructor for first year experience at the American University of Kuwait. and an educator for 35 years old, mashallah. DTM Sandy believes people learn best when they are actively involved and enjoying themselves. She has extensive experience in public speaking, leadership, and training. Please join me to welcome DTM Sandy Steen with a big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you very much, our MC of the day, Toastmaster Aya. My name is Sandy Stein, and I have been a Toastmaster for 9 years. And table topics was the thing that I dreaded the most. I have to tell you, it was like something would catch my tongue and I just couldn't think of what to say at the time. I would always think about it afterwards. Oh, I should have said this. I should have said that. Has that ever happened to you? Well, today we're going to talk about how we can make ourselves give quick responses and make them not only intelligent, but also organized. So, moving on. Table topics is impromptu speaking. It was originally called Table Topics by Ralph Smedley, who is the founder of Toastmasters. And he called it Table Topics because at that time in the 1920s, gentlemen would sit around the table and one of them would have to come up with a topic and have to speak about it. And he realized that many of the young men at that time had no clue how to do that or even how to, behave in a business type of a meeting. Therefore, he started this organization called Toastmasters. Now, we use impromptu speaking all the time. We use it during job interviews, phone conversations, chats with colleagues, talking to customers, company meetings, in the classroom, and at home. If you are able to think and organize your ideas quickly and speak, it is going to make a huge difference in your life. It's going to improve your listening abilities, allow you to think quickly on your feet, allow you to respond effectively, organize your thoughts, and have a greater impact in what you say. I have to tell you that because table topics was such a struggle for me, I focused very, very heavily on it. And I just pushed myself to do it over and over and over again. Every time they asked for a volunteer, I had my hand up because I believed that it was going to help me a lot. I used to sit in meetings and not be able to come up with my ideas at the appropriate time. And after I had been in Toastmasters, maybe 6 months, 8 months, something like that, I ended up getting a promotion in my job. And it was all, I believe, due to the fact that I could, at that time, I had much more ability to speak up during meetings and make my thoughts more cohesive and concise. So how do we do this? All right, so the components of an impromptu speech are just like a regular speech. We have an introduction, we have a body, and we have a conclusion, right? Just like a hamburger. I love making this analogy of a hamburger because when you are eating a hamburger, you don't want just the bun, do you? Right? You don't want it simple. You want all the good stuff in the middle here in the body. The lettuce, the meat, the cheese, the tomatoes, all the sauces, all the yummy stuff is in the middle. And that's what your speech should be like. It should have all of those details and interesting things in the middle. And your introduction and conclusion are short and concise. Now, how do we do this? Because you have to all of a sudden come up with an idea. This is the way that it works. When you're starting, you will hear a prompt from the table topic master. Now, this can either be a quote, it can be a question, or it could be, sometimes they do all kinds of interesting things with table topics. They might give a picture and have you explain it or anything like that, but it's usually a quote or a question, all right? So they're gonna read it 2 times. The first time, just listen. The second time, listen to confirm what you heard the first time and start thinking. You have 30 seconds to formulate your ideas and then you have to talk. Okay? So don't rush to speak. Give yourself that 30 minutes. Some people, they immediately start in and they haven't given themselves enough time for those thoughts. So you want to think about, how do I start? Just like any speech, you can catch their attention with a quote, a rhetorical question, a shocking statement or fact, or an anecdote. You could repeat the prompt. It is a more formal way of doing a table topics. However, I tend to believe that immediately starting with an attention getter is better, and then coming back to the prompt at the end of your introduction tends to lead right into your story or whatever you're doing in the body. Okay? Thank you for not annotating. Now, you want to state your point. If they've asked you a question or made a quote and asked if you agree or disagree, then you can state that. All right? That's why I prefer to have the prompt closer to the end, just like the end of an introduction of a paper. So let's say that your prompt was something like, Henry Ford said, don't forget that the airplane takes off against the wind. All right, now, I could start off and say, have you ever been on an airplane? Have you ever felt it when you first take off and that pull that's happening? The wind is hitting the plane strongly. Well, I completely agree with Henry Ford's quote. I do agree that when bad things happen, this is what ends up leading people to greatness. Okay, so now I have said in just about 30 seconds, a quick introduction, and it's relating it back to the prompt. You always want to keep that prompt in your mind. What is it about? So if you disagreed, you could say, no, I disagree, and say very quickly, I disagree with Henry Ford's quote, and I'm going to give you some examples why I believe that. Or maybe you would agree about some and disagree about other parts of whatever prompt or quote that you are given, and that's perfectly fine. So where do we go from there? We turn to the body. Again, you want to think about, what was your thesis? My thesis was, I agreed with the quote. So I need to come up with things that support my point, my opinion. All right, maybe it's something like a story, and it's really a really good idea to tell a personal story when you are telling table topics, because stories connect to people. Stories touch emotions. And when you touch people's emotions and connect to them, people remember what you are saying. Okay? It's also a lot more interesting. But there are a number of things you can do. For example, you can give your opinion. You can offer reasons. You can think about it in terms of past, present, future. You can break the topic into parts and pull it apart. You can think about it in terms of cause and effect. You can look at it in terms of stories that support your point, whether it's your own personal story or somebody else's story. You could use facts, especially if you know the facts, where they're coming from. For example, if you know some information that supports the point, then you could easily say something about, well, according to the World Health Organization or so-and-so, right? According to Mayo Clinic, anything that you would, that might lend some credibility, but again, having some kind of research in there is not required. All right, you want to, during the body of your speech, you want to have clear transitions, just like in any speech. But I think it's particularly important in a table topics because you have, it's like you're squeezing everything into this very short time, and you want to make sure that people are understanding your points. So the best way you can do this is to connect to the audience with your emotions, question the audience, and have relatable content. Think about something that would make sense to the people you're talking to, right? Now, if you're talking to airline professionals, go with that. But for myself, I don't think that's what Henry Ford meant. Henry Ford was talking about the wind blowing against us being troubles or obstacles, and that's how people end up taking off and becoming more successful in their lives. So it could go into past, present, future of my own life, something that I was dealing with in the past, okay, or the way that I was. Maybe there was an obstacle in my way. Where am I now, and where am I heading into the future? Something easy to do. You can think of these different organizations, methods of organizing your ideas, and kind of practice those for table topics so that you can listen to a quote or a prompt and think, which one is going to work best for this particular quote or this particular prompt. All right. Now, your conclusion should only be about 30 seconds. You can restate your point, make it clear how your support related to the prompt. And you want to leave with something very memorable. For example, you could ask them a question for them to ponder, such as, think about the last time you ran into difficulties. Didn't that make you a better person? See, it could be anything like that. A call to action. The next time you have a difficulty, don't lose hope and recognize that this is a process to go through for you to become better than you were before. Or I could give a quote. If I am a person who remembers lots of quotes, like my Henry Ford quote, okay? But of course you don't want to give the same quote as they gave in the prompt, but it could be a different quote. Or maybe it's just a potent sentence or phrase that you can say to make people think about this prompt, because that's what you want to do. You want to make an impact. You want to help people understand that this is your message. You want people to think about it. And if it stays in their mind, then you have done your job, because they're going to walk away thinking about it. Oh yeah, gosh, now that I think about it, it actually does happen like that. instead of, right? Have you ever had that happen? When all of these troubles come along your way. So again, many different ways that you can end your conclusion, end your speech, and it's, again, about 30 seconds. So we want the meat and potatoes in the middle and the buns at the top and the bottom that are just nice and tasty, but still short and beautiful. Okay? Now, I would like to have a demonstration so that you can get a better idea about all of this. So I believe Anjali gave me the names of some people. I'm trying to see who we have here in the room. Do I have Toastmaster Maya here? Or Toastmaster Flannel? Toastmaster Deepa or Toastmaster Devamalia? Anybody?
Yes, Toastmaster Maya here.
Hi, welcome, welcome.
Hi.
Are you
Thank you.
ready to give a table topics speech?
Yes, yes, I am.
Okay, excellent. Now, what I want to tell you, and this works for any kind of speech that you're going to start. Before you start, when you normally, I mean, right now we're online, but if you're there in the room, when you walk up to the stage, you want to take a deep, slow breath in and deep, slow breath out. Okay, this is going to help you calm your nerves, and then you want to put your shoulders back, chin up, and when you come in, you're just gonna smile. All right? Maya, are you still there?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I'm hearing. Yes.
Wonderful. All right. So here is your prompt. Would you rather have less work or more work that you actually enjoy doing? I'm going to read it again. Would you rather have less work or more work that you actually enjoy doing? Toastmaster Maya. See, now I'm going to turn it over to you. And
Thank you.
timer, can you give her 1 to 2 minutes? Sorry.
No problem. Thank you, DTM Sandy. A job that we love, or the jobs that we love, we always like to do them. Well, that may be a thought. The age that I am in, well, the jobs that I'm loving at this age, I used to love them even when I was at school. But then the tempo, the interest, the enthusiasm with which I used to do them when I was in school, that I find is sometimes not there at this age. The reasons could be many for that. Health issues, some family problems, or whatever may be the reasons. So even if you enjoy doing a job, and there could be priorities also. So even if you enjoy doing a job, it may so happen that over a period of time, you may not be able to engage in them due to a variety of reasons. I, for that matter, on any given day when I get up, make a list of 10 jobs that I like to do the most. But at night when I go to bed and I take a stock of it, I'm just able to do about 1 or 2. And I ask myself, what did I do the whole day? Does it mean that I do not love the jobs anymore? No, it is not that. Because as I said, over a period of time, our priorities change. There may be many other things that you may have to attend to. So it is not that you enjoy the work less, but you may have to say which should be the first job for you on a particular day. What may be the first job today may not be the first job tomorrow. It might be something else. So I believe what we enjoy working or what we enjoy doing will always be there. It's just a question of how much time we are able to devote it at different stages of our life. Over to you, DTM Sandy.
Wonderful. Give her a big round of applause. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Maya. Now,
Thank you.
if you don't mind, I'm going to give you a little critique. Would that be all right with you? Like, I'm going to give you some suggestions and let you know what you did, a little evaluation of your table topic. Fabulous. Okay. So first of all, when you came in, you went slightly off of the prompt. Okay. Now that happens, right? Sometimes we don't hear it completely. The prompt was a little bit long, so that was maybe part of the reason. Okay. But instead of saying maybe, right? Because you kept saying, well, I could maybe do this, I could maybe do that. Just go firm with it, right? Don't say maybe, just say something like, when I think of this quote, I believe, and boom, go with it. Because maybe kind of it makes you sound a bit wishy-washy, right? Okay, good. The other thing, I was missing some structure in your speech. You kind of went here and there and then back up and then kind of around. So the best way is to think of very quickly 2 or 3 points that you can immediately discuss. All right, whether it's a story and could be a story and then 1 point or 2 points, or it could just be 3 points with no story. All right, you kind of started talking about it personally and then you went away from it before you actually told the story. I would recommend expanding on that and telling the whole story. And then when you come back in the end, make it clear that you're finishing. All right, give it some kind of a transition. I was missing those transitions in hearing those, you know, like where are you exactly in your speech? I wasn't 100% sure. All right, so we can do things like the first thing I want to talk to you about, or the most important point, etc. Additionally, we could then say at the end, in the end, to sum it up, in conclusion, there's so many different ways you can make it clear that you are ending. Okay, and then you did go back to the prompt and restate, which was very good. But I was missing that final powerful punch of a statement. Right, so very good job, and just a few things to help you improve. Thank you so much. All right, now I think I have, do I have any of my other volunteers here? I had Flannel, Deepa, and Devamalia Day. Oh, Flannel, there you are. Okay, can you speak to make sure that we can hear you?
Am I clear?
Yeah, you are. Very good. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen again.
Okay.
And go to the next prompt. Are you ready?
Yes.
I love the way that you're standing up for that. Fantastic. Now take a deep breath. All right. When you do that, it clears your mind. Good deal. Toastmaster Flannel, would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton? By the way, a simpleton is somebody who's kind of plain and simple, right? Again, would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton? Over to you, Toastmaster Flannel.
I'm being very stern to you all. I was just joking. That was just a joke. Don't take it seriously. Right now, I want to say a very good evening to you all. The first character I portrayed was someone who was very worried, very stern, and not very free. The other was a simpleton who took life very happily. Now, who would I choose? Well, let's look into both these characters. How many times do you feel that you're worried in life? Me, many a time. Today's day was worryful at work. Let me also ask you, how many of a time were you a simpleton? I was a simpleton today. When I woke up and had my lovely breakfast, when I had an amazing lunch with my colleagues, and when I got home and the day ended. So let me ask you this. Do you want to be just one? Or would you like to combine them both and have the best of both worlds? Let me start with my day today. I have a board meeting coming up this week, that's tomorrow, and I had some deliverables that have to go out. And there were last minute changes. And I was stressed, am I going to get this done? There was the worried genius. Then came out the other character, Flannel. Don't worry, you've done this so many times before. You can do it. And there came my joyful, positive simpleton. And put together, I was able to complete my deliverable as well as maintain my stress. So, my dear Toastmasters, I think in every walks in life, we all have that time where we're worried, but we also got to find that simpleton in us to bring out the positive side and stay calm. Like, let me take an example. When my brother came back from church today, he forgot his keys. He was belling the door with so much anxiousness. He was worried that he doesn't have a key to enter the door. Luckily, I was there and not at work. I opened the door for him. I could have gotten annoyed with him ringing the bell, but I didn't. I smiled him and I said, welcome. Later, he came and my parents came back as well. And then he was hungry. He went into the kitchen and he saw lasagna there, food that was made with love. And he wanted to have it, but he noticed it's cold. It's like, Mom, I'm hungry. Can you please heat the food? My mom too could have been very anxious. She just came back from the church as well. But she didn't. She happily did. And he's happy now. My mom is happy now. What I'm trying to say is, my dear Toastmasters, there's always a way we can deal with life. Be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton. It's your choice. Over to you.
Nice. Thank you very much. All right. Now I'm going to give you an evaluation on your table topic speech. You started out in a very unique way. I loved that. You took my question and decided that you were going to combine it. You didn't want to go one way or the other. And I completely agree with you. I don't think life is either black or white. It is a combination of things. So that was very interesting. I loved your personal stories. I want you to be a little more cognizant of the timing though. Yeah, because basically when you see that yellow light come on in table topics, you want to start wrapping up right there. And instead you added another story. And it's like, I was thinking, no, he's not gonna make it. So be careful. What we want to know instead of adding another story is your message, right? So you could have stuck with the very first story and then spent that time talking about your message and what you believe is important. All right, instead of like at the end, you kind of went right to try and finish it up because the light was red. And so the minute that you see that yellow light come on, start wrapping your thoughts up. Okay. The other thing, I really liked your movement. You were going forward and back a couple of times. I would have liked to seen a little bit more. Since you were standing up, you still stayed right in the middle most of the time. Okay, you started off very interestingly right up at the camera and then moving back. That was great. But then you didn't do a lot of left to right movement. You don't have to do a lot. You want to kind of think about what you're saying, and even if you're just moving one step in with this minimal screen space, right? One step to your right, talk about one point, one step to your left, talk about another point, right? And then back to your middle to finish it up. Okay, or you even could have come back close to the camera at the end, like you had started it. That would have been very interesting. Overall, mashallah, very nice, interesting, nice vocal variety. Just watch your time. Great. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Flannel. And let's get one more timer. How are we doing on time? Do I have time to do 2 more volunteers? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a yes. All right, thank you. Toastmaster Devamalia, did I say your name right? I hope. Shala. Okay, wonderful. Let me open my screen again. Toastmaster Devamalia, what? If you had the chance to go back in time and change one thing, would you do it? Again, if you had the chance to go back in time and change one thing, would you do it? Toastmaster Devamalia.
Good evening, DTM Sandy. If I had the chance and the opportunity to go back in time, I would probably want to change many things. Life often offers us things in a plate. We don't always like everything. So yes, definitely there are a few things, but one thing which is very close to my heart, and it's from history, it may be controversial, but it's still, since this topic has come up. We got, India, basically my home country, we got our independence in 1947, but not as one united nation. So we got divided or partitioned for different reasons. If I had a choice and a chance to change, I would probably look forward where we got our independence as one big nation that is without any divisions. So we got partitioned at the time of independence, but that is one thing which probably did us in. There are several reasons to it. The countries in the subcontinent, they spend so much on defense. All that resources could have been used in basic amenities, in healthcare, in education, which is not happening. And overall, the entire subcontinent would have gone miles. And when you look back, that the entire subcontinent, the people had always lived as one community across millenniums. It's just that the last 200 years, all those divisions where the fault lines were made prominent that this happened, but this was definitely something which could have been avoidable and made the subcontinent a great superpower, not just like we are now the 5th largest economy, probably we could have been the 3rd. So yes, that's my observation. Thank you. Over to you, DTM Sandy.
Wonderful. Give him a big hand. Nice job. Now, first of all, Toastmaster Devamaya, oh gosh, Devamaya.
Dave,
Huh? I can call you what?
Dave,
Dev?
the first three
Okay, all
letters.
right. My apologies. You had a really nice idea to take it and look at something that would not just impact you, but it would impact millions of people and maybe even the entire world. That was really nice. I liked how you did that. And it was definitely something that we could all relate to because we've seen that, right? Over time, we've seen the division of not just India and Pakistan, but also many countries being divided and dealing with the problems. And wouldn't it be nice if all of those conflicts would just go away and we didn't have to spend all that money on military and defense and could instead spend on our, making lives better for everybody. Fabulous ideas, really nice way to focus on your reasons and why you thought it was important. Now, you had a nice voice as you were going through it. My comment to you is you were shifting constantly back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. All right, you want to move periodically, but you don't want to constantly move, right? Also, we want to be able to see your hands moving. So you are standing, that is fantastic, but the way that you have the camera is angled so that we can't really see your hands unless you brought them way up and then we just saw parts of your hand, okay? So if you're doing this online, you want to think about camera angles and things. The other thing is the light that's right behind your head. Every time. So if you could just shift, if it would be possible, if it's not possible, I understand, but just shift and the angle of your laptop so that that bright light is not right behind your head. Because what was happening as you were shifting, I was losing your face and your facial expressions because that bright light would go whoosh and then you'd be over there and then whoosh. Okay, so it was distracting, and it also, when you can't see somebody's face when they're talking, it makes a difference in how you can connect with your audience. And you always want to be able to do that as much as possible. Alhamdulillah, we're able to see each other even though we're probably not in the same country. Overall, very nice job. You came back to the prompt at the end. You told a bit of a story and you gave your reasonings. Nice job. Thank you very much. And I'm going to go to my last volunteer. Thank you, which is Toastmaster Deepa. Hello, Toastmaster Deepa. Can you say hi? You're muted. Okay. Whoops. Wait. Sorry, you're muted again.
Is it
Hey,
fine now?
there we go. Yeah.
First of all, a good evening, very good evening to everyone. And I apologize for being in a car. Actually, I was at a function, so I just sat in the car. So I'm restricted with my movements, and usage of the stage is just my car seat. I'll try and do the best that I can.
So when we are restricted like that, we just make use of the things that we can, right? Your hands, your beautiful face, your smile, and your voice. Are you ready? Take a deep breath. Here we go. If you looked into the heart of your enemy, what do you think you would find that is different from what's in your own heart? Again, if you looked into the heart of your enemy, what do you think you would find that is different than your own heart? Toastmaster Deepa.
Thank you, Contest Chair. First of all, for such a beautiful and lovely deep topic. Yes, what would I find different in my enemy's heart compared to what is in my own heart? My stand, definitely nothing different. The first thing is, if someone is my enemy, I am their enemy. All humans, I always believe that everyone has something good and bad in them. So I am good to somebody, then definitely on the way, I might be bad to somebody. The same person whom I consider my enemy will be someone else's friend. And when it comes to heart and our feelings, we are all emotional, we are all human beings, and to err is human. I take a path in my life where I believe what we can always do is just forgive. And when it comes to heart and feelings, I've gone through a lot in life. I'm sure all of us have gone through so much in life, isn't it? And sometimes whom we consider our enemy, after a while, when things are resolved, if we take that path, if we choose to take the path of again forgiving someone and going ahead, the same person can become our friend too. And when it comes to heart, as I said, sometimes unknowingly, many a times, for example, we had this exhibition, just a small example where we had an exhibition. I went and submitted a painting of mine. A friend of mine couldn't do it, but then she felt I should have told her. I did not do it intentionally, but end of the day, she felt as if I was her enemy. So it's unintentional, but yes, there were certain misgivings. Later on, I did explain and things resolved and we became fine. So when you look into anyone's heart, no one is bad. Everyone has something good and bad in them. In anyone's dictionary, what is good and what is bad also varies. So please give way, try and understand. Never consider someone to be your enemy. In the journey of life, all of us have pluses and minuses. So please go ahead. And yes, I feel the heart is the same for everybody. Love. Thank you. Over to you, Corpus.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Deepa. Lovely. Even though you were sitting down, you're full of energy, mashallah. And we could see it with your hands. The only thing that I want you to be careful of with your hand movement, especially on the screen, it's not so much of a problem when you're in person, but on the screen, your hand movements, when they move fast, it starts to blur. And sometimes if you're putting those hand movements in front of your face, right, then we are losing your facial expressions and seeing you. That's just a real small thing, because it was only a little bit that it happened. And probably just because of your situation sitting in a car like that. Now, I really liked that you talked about how you felt everybody had the same in their hearts. It was probably the same, no matter who. And then you, instead of continuing with that, you told the story. And the story is really important because otherwise, sometimes it sounds like we're preaching to other people, right? And so we have to be careful about that. The idea is not to preach to them and to think, oh yes, our ideas are better than yours. No, we want to tell a personal story and show how we have experienced these things. We're right along with everybody else. And you did that very nicely. I would have liked to see your story come a little bit sooner though, because you did some repetition, and we do that during table topics too. Yeah, it's okay, especially as we are practicing. It's like, okay, what am I going to say now? Okay, yes, I go back to that same idea, and then no, I already said that. Oh my God, what am I? All these thoughts that go on in our heads. Very good though. I liked it. I would like to see a little more structure in your speech. And again, watch your repetition of things, but overall, very well done. Thank you so much. All right. Now, what I would like to see, if we have time, I would like one of the new Toastmasters to give a try. I have two more quotes. This is the problem with having a virtual background, right? So I have 2 more quotes. Who would like to give it a try? Anybody? You can put your virtual hand up. Come on, be brave. If you don't want me to tell you what you did badly or good, I won't. Oh, wonderful, Nadine. Thank you so much. Can we, and then, all right, Toastmaster Fabian, you will be second. Okay, great.
Hello.
Hi, Nadine. How are you?
I'm fine. Now I'm a bit wary about the lighting.
No, your lighting is good.
Okay.
You are very good. Okay, so tell me before we start, how long have you been a Toastmaster?
I joined last October.
Okay, so medium new. All right, are you ready? Take a deep breath.
Okay. All right.
Okay, here comes the new quote. No, that's the old one. Don't just ignore
And the
that.
thing is more restricted and so I could have
Sorry?
definitely I know.
Excuse
Can
me,
I go back? No problem. I'll just go back. Cherry?
who's talking?
Okay. Yeah. It wasn't great, but because
Moderator, can you, thank you so much. Okie dokie. All right, let's go back here. Now, here we go. If you could ask one person, alive or dead, only one question, who would you ask and what would you ask? I'll say it again. Toastmaster Nadine, if you could ask one person, alive or dead, only one question, who would you ask and what would you ask? Over to you.
Okay. So in my morning walks, I always walk around in my compound and I always see the house of my late friend, who's my neighbor. And I think I would like to ask her a question. In the last days before she passed away, she didn't reach out to me. And I missed being with her. So my question to her is like, what could I have done differently to be more present for her? And I kind of like still need to work things out because I'm not there for her kids, although I'm their neighbor. So there's still some healing that needs to take place. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
You froze a bit. Are you hearing me? It's okay?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. So I think there's some healing that needs to take place. And I need to reach out to her daughters. And my learning from that is that you need to be there for your friends. We get totally stuck up in life and in the vicious cycle, but you need to check in on your friends and you need to go out of your comfort zone to be there for them and put in the extra effort because you don't know when will be the last time you're going to be in touch with them. So that's the question I'd like to ask her is what could I have done differently to be there for her? And I miss her so much. Thank you. Over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, Nadine, that was so touching. When we hear a personal story like that and you went into it in detail, we really felt your emotions and Wella, you touched my heart. And it made me think of when my mother passed away and that I would love to, oh my God, I couldn't even think of one question. It would be a million questions, right? But what I want to help you with at the beginning of your speech, I want you to think of what can you do to grab attention, all right? You started very low key. and you kind of remained at that low key most of the way through. Now, given the situation and the topic you were discussing, I can understand that, but we still want to add a little more vocal variety,
Okay.
a little more variation of the loudness or softness of your voice, okay? And maybe you could have said something at the beginning like, I remember the day, right? Or it could have been the day that you met your friend, or it could have been the day that she passed away, right? And that would immediately have caught us. This little story at the very beginning, and then you could have gone into, let me tell you about what happened, right? And then go into the story in more detail. Overall, beautiful. You came back to the prompt at the end. Very nicely done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, let me go.
Sorry for the interruption, DTM Sandy. Actually,
Are we over time?
No, we have question answer session also. So if you could, sorry to interrupt you.
No problem. All right,
Because,
so
there are many questions have also come up. Maybe after that, after adjournment, we can try with these members question if they're willing to answer.
okay,
We'll go
so,
for question answer session now.
yes, I can see in the chat.
Yes.
Haneen was saying it's not allowed to talk about politics as per the ground rules of
DTM
Toastmasters.
Sandy, there is a DTM Asha Rani is here because all the questions she has received. She would help you. She would read the questions for you. You can
Okay, but
answer.
I just wanted to answer Haneen's question in the chat, because it's not Toastmasters International that has made that rule. That is District 20 that has made that rule. Because we are dealing with so many countries, so many nationalities, so many different religions, that it is because of that, and because there's often some of those countries are may have, example, Iraq and Kuwait, right? I mean, there were 2 wars between them, right? So it's the idea of maintaining harmony. That's the only thing. There is no Toastmaster International rule about it, though. Okay, so, all right, what's the first question?
Good evening, all. Good evening, DTM Sandy. The first question we have received. Good evening. The question we have received is, in table topics, sometimes we might receive sentences that are long. Can we hold the prompt to our hands until the end of the speech?
You know, in a club setting,
Natasha. Okay.
Yeah,
Please.
in a club setting, that is perfectly fine. There are clubs that allow that. If you are online, you can even type it into the chat. And that is what we're doing even during contests. For the online contest, that the participant who's competing has received the prompt in the chat. A lot of clubs don't do that, however. I think it's because they are trying to prepare their members to be able to compete. And if you think about it, when we're dealing with, like, let's say a business meeting, department meeting, whatever it is, they're not going to write their idea down and hand it to you and you get time to think about it, right? So the idea is to listen carefully, and that's one of the most important things about table topics, is listening to that prompt carefully. The first time, you should not even be formulating your thoughts. Only listen. The second time you hear it, you are confirming, did I hear it correctly? And then you're formulating your thoughts. All right. Many people already start off to somewhere before they confirm that they've heard it properly. All right, and that's part of the problem. We generally try to keep it a little bit shorter. I made mine a little bit long. I just loved those quotes. Okay, I hope I answered your question. Another question, please.
Another question, DTM Sandy, we have a question from Toastmaster Fabian. How about moving left and right? Does it show anxiety or fear? Is there any way we can overcome it? And one more question is attached to it. How about the 30 seconds for formulating? Won't we lose time of 2 minutes?
No, the timing does not start until you make your first utterance of speech, or you make the movement, like it's obvious that it's part of what you're trying to say. All right, so that 30 seconds will not be included in your timing. So use it. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, now Toastmaster Fabian remind me, what did he say?
Moving to and fro.
Yes, moving. Okay. Yeah, now there is the difference between moving and pacing or shifting. Okay, so be purposeful in your movements. You want to think about, like, if it's a prepared speech, you want to think about where are the best times to move. In general, in any kind of speech, the best time to move from one side to the other is during transitions. So if you are giving 3 points, or you're telling a story and 2 points, start in the middle. When you transition to the next thing, move to the left. Stay there. Don't shift while you're standing. Just stand there, plant yourself. Preferably have the weight a little bit forward on your toes as opposed to on the back of your feet, okay? Then you get to your next point and you transition to the other side, all right? So, and again, it's gonna depend on what you're saying. You may want to include movements that demonstrate what you're talking about. Sometimes that fits, but most of the time there isn't something that's going to give you these big dramatic, movements. Okay, I hope I answered your question. Next. Oh, you're muted, my dear. You are muted, DTM Asha. It's like
we have several questions. We have received several questions due to time constraints. This will be the last question. Okay. Is it always necessary to agree with the topic? Is it okay if we disagree? Yeah.
Nope, not at all. As a matter of fact, one of the table topics that I won in the area contest and got into division is because I happened to be the only one that disagreed with the topic. So everybody else had agreed and mine was different and it stood out immediately. So no, you don't have to. As you can, what was his name? Toastmaster, the second gentleman that was there. He both agreed and disagreed, right? So you can agree, you can disagree, or you can combine them. And there are people that if you're really good and you think about it well, you can say, that is irrelevant in my life, and go sideways completely in the prompt. And if you can do it well, then go for it. But it is generally better in terms of contests. It's better to stick with your prompt. But in table topics in a club, doesn't matter. You can kind of do that sideline off. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that, but I have something that's similar and go from it there.
Okay. One question from my part. Okay.
Sure.
Is it really necessary for us to practice table topics?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. you know, table topics is just like any other form of speaking. And I think it might even be more important. So there's like, you can find, if you Google table topics prompts, you will find hundreds and hundreds of prompts, if not thousands of them. And so it gives you practice, and you think about, are you going to, is this one going to fit with, what kind of story can I tell with this? Or should I do a past, present, future with this? Is this a cause effect situation? Should I do a comparison contrast? Should I just do 3 points? What is going to work with that? And the more you do it, and the more you practice doing different structures with different types of prompts, the easier it's going to be for you. Just like learning how to ride a bike, we need to practice it and practice it until we can do it well. It's the same thing. It's a skill that you're learning.
Okay, DTM Sandy, one more. This is the last question. Okay, we have one more question from I don't know. She's in the Toastmaster from Fatima. She's asking,
Okay.
what was the most interesting topic you have talked till now? I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't remember them that much. I've just done too many. 9 years, and I did table topics contests for about half of that time. So I don't know. I like, oftentimes there are some really beautiful quotes, and they speak to your heart, and you're just feeling, oh yeah, like Toastmaster Deepa was like, thank you for giving me this quote. All right, you really don't want to say that in a Toastmaster, in a table topic speech, but I totally recognize her feeling, because sometimes you get a quote and it's like, oh my God, what am I gonna say? I can't think of anything for this. And you just gotta try. That's what thinking on your feet is all about. What is the message? Go down to what is the message of this prompt, and how can I relate to it? And go from there.
Thank you so much, DTM Sandy, for this
You're
lovely
very
session.
welcome.
Everybody has got a lot of questions for you, because your session was so interesting. And with that, I will give the control back to our MC, lovely MC, Toastmaster Aya. Toastmaster Aya, oh yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, DTM Asha, for handling the session very well. Thank you, DTM Sandy, for the very insightful and enriching session. We have learned new techniques. I am sure the speech crafters would have enjoyed the session. Before I hand the control back to the event chair, I request the audience to turn on their cameras for a group photo.
Smile, come on, pictures. We love pictures.
Sure.
If you get a chance to go to the district contest, go. The district conference, because it's so much fun, and you get lots of pictures with lots and lots of Toastmasters. All right, Sam, Safa, Zaina, Farial, Fatima, Abhishek, Samsung, Manish, and Monia. Can we have your cameras open? Smile.
Yes, everybody can. Now, no problem.
Yeah,
It's over. Only the picture is left. So now we'll take picture more.
it's done.
Oh, Fatima's just got her camera open. One more. It's great work for your muscles, right? Your cheeks start, you can feel them start aching right after you've smiled so long.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, Toastmaster Aya. You were very pleasant and energetic throughout the session. Well done. Thank you so much for staying till 9:15 and continuing this session really well. My sincere thanks to the presenter DTM Sandy Strain, demo table topic commentators Toastmaster Maya Sharma, Toastmaster Flannel, Toastmaster Dev Malya, and Toastmaster Deepa Parthivan, and some of the volunteers also. My sincere appreciation and thanks on behalf of District 20 organizing team to Master of Ceremonies, our Toastmaster Ayas, Sergeant at Arms and Timer Toastmaster Arshi, and the moderator. Again, we have proved together we can do so much. This video of this presentation will be shared with you in the members group as well as the coordinators group. Our quality team is ready to clarify and guide you at any time. We have received some more questions which we would forward it to our presenter DTM Sandy, and we will try to get as much as possible answers from her. With this, we have come to the end of the session 4. I hereby adjourn session 4. Our next session 5 will be on 18th March 2023, Saturday at 8 p.m. Bahrain, Kuwait and Iraq time. See you all again on Saturday. Good night and thank you all.